situation.
Sorry, Selorm. It's not GFK's decision. It's decision of NEC.
Decision of NEC. Right, okay.
Decision of NEC. He communicated the decision of NEC.
Thank you.
So if you say arrogate all the decision to him, you are unfair to him.
Yeah, thank you. So I think it was a bit unfortunate, the decision of the National Executive Council of the New Patriotic Party to decide to boycott this election. And actually, the MPP finds itself in a very difficult situation. That situation is essentially because of a lot of the unprincipled positions they took when they were in power. And so even when they are making arguments that could be sound, those arguments lack legitimacy because the people of Ghana won't accept, or simply won't accept it because it lacks the backing of principle, or nobody believes that they are making those arguments on the basis of principle. Indeed, I think the reaction of the party, the fact that the party went ahead and put themselves up for us in this election, the fact that their sponsored candidate still went ahead and contested the election, the fact that people who seek to lead the party, because
the candidate putting herself up against the dictates of the party, that was anti-party behavior, isn't it?
And so it tells you about the extent to which the party is divided. Because it wasn't just the candidate. You found very senior members of the party, Honorable Brian Echampon, coming out in defiance of the position of the party. You found Honorable Ken Japan. You found very senior former MPs, people who want to be executives, like the Honorable Howard Kumsin.
Howard Kumsin wants to be an executive?
Yes, she wants to be a women organizer.
Oh, I see.
In fact, in one of the videos, I saw is it the deputy organizing secretary?
Yes, the gentleman.
The gentleman being beaten, unfortunately, and we'll come to you understand. So clearly, if it was the position of NEC, and I don't know the composition of is His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia a member of NEC?
Yeah, he is
a member of NEC.
Yes, he is, yeah.
So, and up until now, because per their party's constitution, if you are a presidential candidate, you are the leader, de jure, both the de jure and the facto leader of the party. No. Now, when during what's called an election period, then after the election, the leader of the party is the party chairman. But de facto, the presidential candidate of the party. De facto.
But the machinery of the party
it's not that case now.
You see, when you're speaking, I disagree with you.
No,
Haruna.
De facto. There's the jury and there's de facto. It's not the legal term, sorry. There's the jury and de facto. He may not be the leader, properly so called, but
he's the leader.
He's seen as a leader.
With all outward manifestations of the
party. So that's de facto.
De facto.
So that's what he's saying.
And even if I were wrong, you see, even if I were wrong, I think this discussion won't be healthy if you keep on interjecting.
Yeah, so
it will be so unfair. Because when you make your point, I agree with it, but I didn't interject. It does not give you the power. It does not give you the authority.
That's a former chance. So be careful. All right, so Andrew, make your point.
So you have His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who is the de facto leader of the New Patriotic Party, and obviously, so this de facto leader defied the position of NEC, of which he is a member.
You took the decision and defied it.
Exactly. So what does it tell you about the health of this party? You know, last 2 weeks I came to your station, and I think I'll make this point, that the MPP right now is a party without a soul. It's a party without a soul. So if you're a political party, you know that political parties are an association, a group of people who claim to believe in certain ideals, certain principles, certain values. It's the reason why we all aggregate and form one body. Now, where you depart from the values, the principles, the virtues, you see, that was the focal point for the said aggregation, then you are a party without a soul. And for me, without even going into the so many other issues that yesterday's elections has brought up, the fact that the NEC took a decision that was defied not just by the rank and file of the party, but by senior members of NEC itself, by people who want to put themselves up for, as in, to lead the party and to lead the nation, then tells you about the core nature of the decision NEC took. It was a decision that lacked principle, that lacked merit, and that's why the party. And so you see, NPP shouldn't come and sit on this platform and tell us that they didn't contest any election. They contested an election, and the election was over a seat, which is deep blue. As if you make an analysis of the results in that constituency, I think they've been winning with a margin of on average about 15,000 gap. 15,000 gap. Now we need to interrogate why a seat which was so deeply blue could flip easily.
But it happens in elections. It happens in elections.
How often? You see, we've had MPP has been contesting the parliamentary seat, that seat, since 1996. Not once have they lost that. Not once has that seat even been close. Not once. So it's not about it happened. It's never happened. MPP has never been in a situation where this seat has even been close. As in, now to talk about they even losing the seat. You understand? So we need to interrogate what is happening to the MPP. That is making them so unattractive to the people of this country. And so for me to come and make the kind of communication my former Deputy General Secretary is making, that NEC took a decision. And
but I hear Evans Nimaku, who is Director of Election, was also present at the Rerun. Can you confirm that?
No, he was not there.
Because I'm reliably hearing that he was there.
No, he was not there.
All right, that's fine. Sorry.
Yeah, so clearly they took a decision that did not sit well with the rank and file of the party. They took a decision that did not sit well with the leadership of the party, or they have leaders who do not have courage of conviction, who do not believe in decisions they take. How can I take a decision? You understand? A decision and you understand, and tell my party people that listen, we are not contesting. And then I'm seeing they either I am unprincipled or I don't have what's called any courage of conviction. And we don't want people who do not have courage of their convictions to lead this country. We don't have, where we are as a country, we don't want to put all these powers into the hands of a person, of people who do not have any courage of conviction. Because right now, over the past 8 years and with how things are happening, you recall that we raised issues when Nanado appointed people who were perceived to be MPP supporters onto the EC. What did MPP as a political party say about that? Because MPP as a political party is not the same as the bearer of executive power. You understand? What did MPP as a political party say about that? Or because that decision, they felt that decision inured to their benefit, they didn't say anything wrong. We saw so many electoral infractions pre and during elections. A lot. I remember all the issues that were raised leading up to all those by-elections and the last year's election itself. What was the position of the New Patriotic Party? Is it that their position will flip depending on how they perceive that decision to inure to their benefit? Is that what drives them? Because you have a situation where the NDC were complaining about 37 polling results. They were complaining about 3. They went to a meeting and the EC came with a decision. On what basis can they say that because of the decision the EC make, they are not going to contest, or they were not going to contest the election?
So that has happened. The fact that the lady defied it is contrary to their party.
Not just the lady.
Yeah, but the lady
not just
to go ahead.
Not just the lady.
Because of the upcoming contest in the party and contest of popularity, etc., people have to go to show face. Will you say that by defying the party order, she has to be punished?
She didn't defy the party's orders.
No, the party said don't go, don't do it.
So
we are boycotting it.
Could the EC have placed the party's flag without the party's consent? Did the party not present polling? And that's why I asked the question. Did she go as an independent candidate?
No, the party says don't go, and then she says she will go. At that moment, there was nothing much anybody could do.
No. So well, he's better vexed with the electoral process. Could the EC have placed the party's flag by her without the party's consent?
Yeah, because the party, yes, because the party's boycott came subsequent to the EC's announcement of a rerun. So all those things might have been done already. The announcement came just 2 days to the election.
But what's the significance of the party's flag being placed by you? Because there's a significance. It just doesn't happen. And
Unless, of course, you are saying that because the party boycotted, the EC should quickly reprint new ballot sheets and take out the party's.
Yeah, because if the party boycotted, she went, the party's flag was there, and the party did not. In fact, indeed, members of NEC, you mentioned Bamia himself was there, Howard Kumsin was there, Brian was there. The party had pulling agents, because the pulling agents were not her agents. They were pulling agents of the party.
I heard Dr. Shana was there as well.
Yeah, so the pulling agents were they were the party's pulling agents. They were the party's pulling agents for all intents and purposes. She was not an independent candidate. She didn't contest the 19 polling states as an independent candidate. She was the candidate sponsored by the.
So what's your point? Your point is that.
My point is that
she contested on the ticket of the party.
So the party didn't boycott.
No, but how should the party boycott? The general secretary, who is the chief administrator of the party, announced that they were boycotting, and that should be enough. We don't know whether they followed it with a letter to the EC. We don't know, but that should be enough.
You see, now the EC, I'm saying that the EC could not have printed the ballot boxes,
Papers,
sorry, and placed the party's flag on it without the party's consent.
and perhaps the EC too should have been written to, because the EC may not have heard the general secretary say so.
You understand? Now the party then impliedly gave their consent with the presence of even members of NEC. But himself was there, Howard Kumsin was there, the deputy organizing, they were all there.
Yeah.
So, as in, how can you say,
I see.
for all intents and purposes, that the party boycotted this election? The party contested and lost.
Yeah.
And to come and make that communication just reaffirms, I believe, that the MPP, beyond it being divided, is a party that has no soul now. They don't have a soul.
Great. Of course, I have Dr. Ateku on the line, and I have...
is it Atiku or Ateku?
Ateku.
Ateku.
Yeah, and then Richard Kumado, who's a security analyst on the line. I'm coming to them in a jiffy.
Okay.
But, Honorable, yes. But, Haruna, clarify this for me. We understand Baumia donated some amount of money to the lady, even after the party had said they were boycotting the event. Can you confirm that?
I cannot confirm that.
But did you hear that?
No, I did not hear
You
that.
did not hear that some money was donated to the lady?
I saw
from
things on Facebook and the social media, which I cannot confirm.
You cannot confirm,
because we
okay.
have official communications. Of
Okay.
the party.
But if Baumia is going to donate to the lady, would the party be necessarily informed?
I don't know. I think the party was running. The party would have found an appropriate channel to have support for the elections. And like you said, many of them who defied the party order to go there were doing so for cameras because they want to.
So will you punish them? Because that's against the party's
I cannot make conclusive statements.
But per your party rules, once that becomes an anti-party behavior, perhaps there should be sanctions that must
the
follow.
NEC will have to take a decision on that.
Okay, but did NEC need to take this decision, or how did the decision come about the boycott?
NEC met
On this?
and took on Monday.
Was Dr. Baumia in that NEC meeting?
Members of NEC were in that meeting.
Which includes Dr. Baumia?
Yes, please.
I see.
Members of
So
NEC were in
NEC
that
should be
meeting.
concerned now that he was part of the meeting but went there to provide support.
Not only him, including all others that you have mentioned.
So
And I
the
tell
party
you,
is concerned about that.
very concerned. And I think that
The
NEC,
senior members of NEC defied NEC's...
even including the candidate, lawyer is here. If the case that went to court was in the name of the candidate, right? We said that we are not participating in the election. The reason that we are not participating is that we have won the election. So we would not participate.
But you had won the election.
And look, she participated in the NEC meeting. She was invited to NEC. Everybody spoke. She spoke. We all...
So when you said you were boycotting, did she agree in the meeting?
Yes.
She agreed that she will not
Yes. Even on Tuesday, if you check the press conference, she was part of the panel. She was sitting in when the non-appearance decision of NEC was
So
made.
you were surprised that later she said she was going to run?
She did not tell us. We saw her running. And you see, we couldn't have written to the Electoral Commission to withdraw because election that we have completed, we cannot be withdrawing that. We
You
cannot
withdraw from the rerun.
Yes, we said we are not.
Yeah, so you could have officially told them that you're running.
Even the Electoral Commission did not write to us. They announced it out there.
But the Electoral Commission, we know how they pass information to
And that's-
political parties.
so
So they use their regular channels.
They did not send any letter to us.
I see.
Yes.
Honorable Inusaf Hussein, you've seen elections, you're running elections and all of that. The MPP boycotted this. Were you surprised they boycotted it? And were you surprised at the turnout of the events? Not the violence part, which we'll come to later.
I was surprised that they boycotted.
You said they had won the election.
And I was surprised that they boycotted the elections, because if you had won the elections, you just go there to vindicate the fact that you have won.
But if they had won the election, why should they go and run again in an election they had won?
Because they went to court to ask for a recollation of the results.
So it should be recollation.
So they should have gone to court to ask for a declaration that Nana Free had won the election. That's what they should have done. And then, if the court had had compelled the EC by an order to declare Nana Free elected, then Obi would have only had the right to challenge the declaration. Okay, by electoral laws of this country. So that was why when the EC said, when NPP went to court and asked for a recollation of the about 10 or so polling stations, 7 or so polling stations that were outstanding, I said that they were setting a very dangerous precedent for this country. Because when you look at CI 147, there is nowhere that recollation appears.
CI 127.
Yes, there's nowhere.
You are mixing CI 47 and
No,
CI
147. I said 147. 127.
127, yes.
127. There's nowhere.
But-
Now, so the power to recollate results, I asked, where did they come from? But the MPP was the party that went to court and asked for that. Okay, so when the Electoral Commission started recollation, so the court granted them. The court granted them that power to do. So when they went to recollect the results, and depending on which narrative that you listen to, and they were 3 outstanding or 19 outstanding, how do the MPP want the Electoral Commission to resolve the matter? How do they want them to resolve the matter? Because now the Deputy General Secretary agrees and says that, 3 were outstanding. So that means the coalition of the results or recollation of the results in the Ablikman North constituency was incomplete. Okay, the Electoral Commission says 19, meaning we're incomplete. So how did they want that thing to be resolved? Now, so you see, when you set yourself on a tangent that creates confusion, the end result is what you have. But you see, what has happened within the MPP, and particularly in the Ablikman North constituency elections, reminds me of W.B. Yeats' The Second Coming, poem, The Second Coming.
Which you know actually.
Yes, the falcon cannot bear the falconer. There's a total breakdown of control and direction within the MPP. Total. And as we speak, the General Secretary and NEC should be apologizing to MPP supporters in Ablikman North. Because when you look at the figures, it means the figures will reveal that the stance of the NEC of MPP created confusion in Ablikman North and robbed Nana Afriye of an election. It is MPP that robbed Nana Afriye of the election. They shouldn't put it on the Electoral Commission. Why? We were told that 5,600 electorates were to vote in the Ablikman North constituency in the 19 police stations. Not so. The total results that came was 3,000 people voted. So more than 2,000 people did not vote.
Yeah.
We know that 19 polling stations have been producing and returning results for MPP.
Yeah.
We know that. We also know that at the end of the elections, Erebra Obin recorded 34,090. And then Nana Afriye recorded 33,881. The difference is 209. We know that in the elections, Nana Kuya got 1,300, just over 1,300 votes. Arabia Oben got about 1,600 votes. The difference is 300 votes. So the MPP in the collected results that was with the Electoral Commission was leading substantially. The people who did not come out, it stands to reason that most of them would have been MPP people. But the party had already communicated to them not to come out and vote. That's what the party did. And now you are blaming the Electoral Commission.
They said they had won the election already.
Yes, so if you have won the election,
so we have the results on your.
Yeah, so if you have won the election, and you know that by the nature of the constituency, you stand to win the constituency if you crank your organizational machinery in place and just vindicate what you have long held to be the case. He said, no, you shouldn't come out and vote. The National Executive Committee directed their supporters in their Blackburn North constituency, particularly 90 polling stations, not to come out and vote.
So notwithstanding the fact that key party functionaries were in the constituency, try to whip up, enthusiasm, etc. Notwithstanding that, you're saying that the party's call, they listened to the party's call not to come out to vote.
When you sow the seeds of confusion, what do you have? Apathy.
I see.
Because people would have been looking to see a united, organized, structured, purposeful party. Not a party in disarray like we witnessed in the just ended elections.
I see.
That everybody was towing a line that he wanted. That people who appeared at a Blackburn North, and you know you are a lawyer, appeared on their own. They were on a frolic
of their
own. They had no cover or protection whatsoever. I'm just surprised that Howard Kumson exposed herself to that. Because your party had told you not to go there. Your party had told you not to go there, and you went there. So if something had happened to you, the party will not defend you.
But that's on the party side. So now we're dovetailing into that's on the party side.
So let me come back. Let me come back and tell you why the party
to protect people
from their flag bearer in the 2024 elections to now has caused the problems that we are having.
How?
You know, in Ghana, the elections are run concurrently on the same day. Presidential and parliamentary elections. And the power to declare results has always been vested in the Electoral Commission. Then we know that the Electoral Commission has between 24 hours and 48 hours to declare
72 hours.
72 hours to declare the results. Now, Bawumia, what did he do?
He conceded.
Long before the Electoral Commission.
But that's he said he did it to diffuse the tension that was
he did it to render whatever activity that was happening at the collation centers moot.
How? Tension was building up. People were sitting.
No, let me explain to you. Let me explain to you why that created this confusion. Because they were collating both the presidential and parliamentary elections at the same time. And Bawumia declared or conceded defeat long before the Electoral Commission. Nobody was interested in the process again. Because what was the purpose?
So we are not blaming him for an action he took to hold the country together.
He didn't hold the country together. He created this confusion.
The tensions were building.
No tension was building. People were simply waiting for the results. So when he did that, people who were still at the Blackburn collating presidential results and still holding parliamentary pinches, they had done the same party agents do them. Didn't see the need because their party had lost. That's why we recorded that high number of unfinished coalitions in this. Have you ever heard that we've recorded this number of unfinished coalitions in Ghana? Because of his action. Simply because, look, go back and unpack. You will see the danger of that declaration. that concession. That concession.
Because from I was here, we were discussing the elections, and we heard that Dr. Bawumia wanted to, he was about to speak.
Yes.
So, tension was building up.
What tension? What tension?
As it is in all elections.
No, there was no tension.
Tension was building.
So
The
you
people were
think,
watching
are
the
you
result,
suggesting to NDC that, and to my brother Haruna, that they didn't have an idea of how the election was going?
Yes, but these are to the two parties.
No,
But the
so the
larger
two parties organized their followers. So we had communicated to our followers that we were winning already.
And
they had communicated to their followers
they were winning.
that they were losing.
No, few hours before that morning, Miracles
psych.
Abuaji was on national TV.
It was cycle.
No, but that's what we knew. That's what we knew. That's on national TV.
That's what on national TV. You're just psyching up the people.
Yeah, psyching them up for what? If they had lost, they would have told the guys, "We've lost. Let's go to sleep."
No,
but they believed they were winning.
No, he was psyching up the people. He knew that they had lost. The records, the outturn, the performance has spoken to them already. And Miracles Abuaji knew that perfectly, that they had lost. He knew that.
I see.
And I know that he knew that they had lost. Okay, so yes, but the defeat was so catastrophic and disastrous that Bawumia had to do something to salvage an image.
By conceding quickly.
To put himself forward as a statesman. The unintended consequences of that early concession is what we are seeing today in Ablekuma.
Wow.
It's what we saw in Tema. It's what we saw in Nakutia. It's what we saw in Domiko Abenya. It's what we saw in Okankwe Central.
And Techiman.
Because they were still in the process of collating the results. And the results, the presidential and parliamentary results, are collated at the same time. So when you concede that early, it renders the process smooth.
I see. Interesting point. Dr. Abdul Jalilu Ateku. Interesting points Honorable Fuseni has raised and all of that. First of all, talk to me about your view about the MPP's boycott of that election. Their defense is that they did not want to participate in an election they had won already. What's your thinking around that? Was it a wise decision to make politically? Or you think that despite the unfairness they had claimed or alleged, they should have still gone ahead to fight in that election? And so if they went ahead to fight in an election they had issues with, wouldn't they have been given their blessing to the unfair processes they had complained of?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to my colleague panelists and then the viewers. In my view, I think that it wasn't a good decision by the new patriotic party, right? I say so because, one, the Electoral Commission came with a decision. They said that there should be a rerun of some 19 polling stations. It means that, and we do know there have been some disputes over this polling station. I understand there were 62 and they came up to 37 through negotiation, agreement, and all that, right? So once the Electoral Commission came back to say that...
Yes, no, go ahead, we are with you. Go ahead.
All right. So once the Electoral Commission came back to say that there should be a rerun in the 19 polling stations, I expected the MPP to have participated, especially given the fact that it is their stronghold, right? So they should have taken that decision to participate in that election. Because, and then my understanding, for me going further, I heard that I think there were 17 with the scans. The three polling stations that the MPP is claiming that that was what was left. What is the number of those three? Do they have carbon copies of the results sheet, or are they scans? My understanding is that 2 of them were still scans and 1 was a carbon disk. So if you add the 2 to the 17, right, which was almost, the NDC almost agreed with them about the 70, but they were suspicious because at least if it were the carbon copies, they would have agreed because NDC had some carbon results sheet, MPP had some, but these were scans. So that was the issue. So once you add the 2 to the 17, that will give you the 19. Still, the presiding officer could not verify or confirm the authenticity of those ones and said that no, we can't. The obvious thing to do is to rerun. And going for, having a rerun, for me, MPP being your stronghold, they should have gone further, to contest the election rather than going. So when they were going to court, the question I asked somewhere was whether if the electoral committee go to the court and then said that maybe this 19 that we are going to rerun is because we can't confirm the results because of the chaos. And I wonder how the court was going to agree with the MPP that they should go with the scans. Now, once the injunction application had been dismissed, what do? You go back you go back and then campaign. But because they took a decision that they were not going to contest, one, it means that they were not prepared for the election to go and campaign. The few days that they were not prepared to do that. So now, after the dismissal of the injunction, then you had less than maybe about 10 hours to campaign. And then you are going to campaign to contest election with another big tent party, the NDC, right? And the NDC from the onset, they decided that we are going to contest, even though we disagree. Because we expected that maybe there should be a rerun in the 37 or maybe 62. But once this 19, I think that looking at the difference, about less than 50 votes, it means that anything could happen. And that's why I was expecting the MPP should have taken that decision. But unfortunately, they allowed that to slip. And then they contributed to the defeat of their own candidate. And for me, I think that the MPP should be looking at, how they take decisions. If we just go back to even the last parliament, ordinarily, we know that when you have issues normally in parliament, the two parties, NDC, MPP, you always find the minority party that will walk out. But for the first time, if I'm right, during the e-levy issues and all that, rather the majority party walked out and then allow the minority, the NDC, to take charge of affairs. Right, and this is exactly what they are doing. This is your stronghold.
But that was
you have decided to vacate. You have decided to leave your stronghold.
That was a strategy in the case of in the case of the
strategy can be wrong.
The walkout. That was a strategy, and indeed.
No, you can take a strategy.
Yeah, because they knew the NDC did not have the numbers to do so. So if they walked out during voting, that will make the decision invalid, which was, and so they managed to overturn. If they had stayed there, the vote would have been valid. So that was a matter of quick thinking strategy. But the point I'm making is that decision, right? Whether it is a strategy, it could fail, or it could not. Maybe they were adopting the same strategy in this. In the 19, the election of the 19 polling stations, and here it backfired. But what do you make of the ladies?
I think that they should be, they should respect.
I see. What do you make of the ladies? The lady, Nana Free, the candidate. Yes, I'm with you. Can you hear me? What do you make of the lady, Nana Free's U-turn? Because they said she was at the NEC meeting. Indeed, she was at the press conference where all these things were said. When she got home, she now said she was going to run. And all these people came around her and then she ran. What do you make of her action, her conduct in that sense? Agreeing with the party, going home now, deciding against the party?
She is the candidate. She had
Dr. Ateku, I think we are losing you. Yeah.
Over there from you should have just come one.
Dr. Ateku, I think we are losing you. I think we are losing you. Maybe you want to. I don't even know whether to say you have to reposition yourself, but because this is Zoom, so maybe let's work out the lines properly, and I'll come back.
Okay, all right. So let me just
to conclude that point, right? Mr. Kumado, Richard Kumado, you're a security analyst, and you saw the election. Now let's zoom into the security part of it. The election you watched or you witnessed yesterday, obviously, should not make you happy because it did appear that the security failed the electorate and the country on the day. Would you agree? Hello, Dr. Kumado. You may want
to some
unmute.
extent,
Yes.
I think there are 5 time layers of.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the first 2 time layers, which predominantly come with some level of chaos. Selorm, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes. You said there were 5 layers, so go ahead.
Okay, so I'm saying that there are 5 time layers of every election period in this country. The first 2 time layers, which predominantly some level of chaos is expected, depending on the particular constituency and those themselves. I think they manage to put.
I think we are having difficulties with the Zoom
Yes, they
connection.
identify.
We're having some difficulties. Richard, just hang in there. I will get it reworked, and then I'll come to you. So I really want to hear the 5 time layers you talked about. So kindly hang in there. Let me rework it in here, and then we'll see. All right. So back in the studio. Haruna, you have been speaking more than everybody because you are the center of this all, but that's fine. Let me come to so Inusaf Husseini is just saying that the guys who were assaulted or beaten at the place have themselves to blame because the party said don't go there. Now that this has happened, I've not seen the party issue a statement. I've rather seen the party in parliament issue a statement. Is the party nonetheless going to take charge of this and fight the cause of the people, even though the party boycotted the election? These are your members who were attacked. We saw it on video. What's the party going to do about this? Does the party have a position on the outcome in terms of the nature of the election? Does the party have a position on it?
Selorm, definitely on matters of violence, the party would not sit down and watch. The party would definitely state a position on that. Before members of parliament, the minority did, a consultation was done before. We would, as a party, make our position very clear in terms of what was done. But Selorm, Honorable Inusaf Husseini made a very key point that I want to situate it properly. If you pick the suit number GJ/0293/2025, the ruling that was passed at the High Court, there was nothing like recollation. We went for an order of Mandamus. And let me read the judgment that was given. On the strength of the authorities cited above and the facts of this case and the exhibit tendered in evidence and in answer to the issues set down by the court, supra, I find that the application meets the condition precedent for the grant of the application. Accordingly, the application is granted as prayed, and I make the following consequential orders. A, an order of Mandamus directed at the respondent to collate the 62 outstanding polling station results and add same to the already collated polling station results and declare the winner of the Ablikuma North constituency parliamentary elections held on 7th December 2024 through the returning officer as required by law on or before 6th January 2025. To collate, not to recollate. To collate and add on, because the constituency is made up of 281, but they are on this instruction is on 62. So it was to collate and
okay. So it couldn't have been not collate because they hadn't done the collation.
Nothing, it is true
so
that there is nothing like
recollation
in the CI. That I agree, but the court was very emphatic: collate and add on and
because there had been no collation.
Yes, there had been no collation. Then the second order was an order directed at the Inspector General of Police to provide adequate and armed security to the respondent at the designated collation centers. 2, enable the respondent to perform his constitutional and statutory duty as contained in Order A. In this case, this was a matter that was before a court. And the Electoral Commission, in seeking to do something different from what the court has said, the inability to implement the court decision was so much on the commission to go back to the court and ask the court that this is what has happened in respect to your orders, and we are asking you for variation or to give us a lead way to conduct a rerun in this particular areas. Without so, and you go into an election that was sole moto decided by the Electoral Commission without the court, was completely something we saw as an illegal. Again, we did not go to the court for only an injunction. We went to the court with a substantive matter, and that is why the judge referred to the substantive case. So our aim was not just to injunct the election.
The injunction was an interlocutory
was something that to stop it once the proceeding continue. So I want to situate this in perspective.
I don't have no problem with the coalition. I agree with the
coalition recoalition. Yeah.
I agree with the clarification, but it comes down again to actually confirm what I've been saying. That at the time that the situation erupted in Ablikmanov, 62 polling stations have not been collated.
And you blame that on the early concession. I see.
No, on that particular early concessions too, it is very difficult to get it and says that it was because of the early concession. It cannot.
But that doesn't stand to reason that if...
No, it's an opinion.
Yes.
I only disagree with his opinion.
That's fine, but we are interrogating that opinion.
Yes.
If we are all fighting, fighting advisedly, and we are all watching the process because we are only concerned with what is happening where we are at the polling station. Yeah. And the boss throws in the towel, I'll be demoralized. What's the point? Why should I keep fighting? I leave the place demoralized because the boss himself has thrown in the towel. I'm only concerned about what's happening in my polling station. The boss who has a best eye view of everything in all the over 3,000 or so polling stations says, guys, we have lost. Let's just concede and let's go home. That obviously will have a toll on the process.
And then let me add to Selorm before you answer. So since the 2 polling stations were not collated, did they include presidential results?
That's the question I was going to. If indeed his declaration, his concession, did affected the result, or did affected what is happening, or did occasion what happened, then the presidential too wouldn't have been collated.
They have collated that.
Because somebody is interested in making sure that the parliamentary elections results is not collated. Other than that, why is it that they did not center on presidential?
I think what happened is they normally finish the presidential. So when they finish the presidential, that's when he and his team had an idea that they had lost.
No, Selorm, no.
It was
no. I contested elections 6 times.
Yes.
When your agent enters, you have 2 screens. You have 2 screens. You sit down, presidential results. Then you mention the presidential at the collation center. You mention the presidential results and finish, and you enter. And you see it on the screen. But then you move. The agent for the president then moves. Then the agent for the parliamentary comes to sit down and then mention the parliamentary results, and it is inputted.
So
you don't collect presidential results and finish and come back. It's not that.
I get it.
In this case,
I get it.
Presidential collations was not completed by the Electoral Commission.
At the time of the concession.
But
that became moot.
So it became moot. It would have truncated the presidential.
No, but it became moot.
That's what I'm saying.
His concession was not a contributory factor.
No, because the presidential, they
it
are
could be
throwing
an
the towel.
opinion. It could be someone's opinion you can't take away because we are right to opinion. So I am telling you that in my opinion, it was not a contributory factor to what happened.
But support your opinion. The opinion you must support. He has supported his opinion. And we are saying that the presidential didn't matter at that point because the guy said he had lost.
The point is, my opinion.
The guy said he had lost. So we didn't have to concern ourselves with the presidential. But what was outstanding was the parliamentary. He couldn't have considered on behalf of all parliamentary candidates. So that was outstanding. But because the presidential was so huge and the guys that have lost, so let's sleep. The people now were demoralized and there was no need to continue the process.
Is it?
And the other guys were jubilating. The place became chaotic.
It's difficult to measure mood. Very difficult. Demoralized is a mood. It's difficult to measure mood. And in this particular circumstance,
I'm giving you, it is difficult to measure mood.
Yes. How do you measure somebody?
Why do people are demoralized?
I can be laughing and I am not okay. Do you get the point? So it's very difficult to measure mood. It's a perception. So that is why I'm not saying that what his opinion is wrong.
Very well.
I am disagreeing with his opinion.
Very well. That's fine.
And I'm saying that
that's
the
fine.
fact of the case is that Dr. Bawumia spoke on the basis of the data that was available to him from the coalition center. And that is why he did the concession.
Very well. Now deal with me on the address for me the chaos. You boycotted it. The people were there on the frolic of their own. What would the party do? Would the party say, "I told you so. I told you not to go. You went and then you have this, so blame yourselves." Or the party will assume responsibility and then fight for them if there is any fight at all?
Selorm, there's always a separation. Violence is not part of electoral process.
Okay.
Much as we boycotted or our non-participation in the election does not give us the leeway to say because violence has been occasioned in that particular election that we don't believe in, we cannot speak about the violence. Violence is not part of any of the processes of elections, i.e. in the Constitution, also in CI 127. So we would not separate it, and we make sure that violence must be dealt with, aside our position of not to talk about the elections because we don't believe that the elections was legal. But after the violence, the party will deal with it. It's very unfortunate what happened. Very, very unfortunate what happened yesterday. If the NDC indeed complained that something happened in Ayawasu, that something happened in Techima, and it is a justifiable reason to do what they did, forgetting about what happened in Talensi, forgetting about what happened in Akwetia, forgetting about what happened in Charpani, and they have to do this, it means that it will continue in perpetuity. This is very barbaric. This is very insane. This is something we must all condemn. And I believe that the Ghana Police Service left their job and what happened in the morning to the stage on which the elections were upheld. This was something that was planned. People were even arrested in uniform, and they had to come in with their own. And remember, President Mahama told us that when it comes to violence, nobody beats them to that.
But Nana also said, "Echomo kakra, echomo ade kakra or akwetia."
I can't.
You can't remember that. You remember the kakra.
No, because he explained it. But President Mahama's own was that they are the kingpins of violence.
But
nobody can beat them to violence. And that is why when you are aligning Dr. Bawumia's concession, I tell you that people who have had violence in nature, who were created out of violence, perpetuated that violent activity to inure to their benefit.
So would you say that what we saw, for example, not to equalize, in Ayawaso West Wuogon, which people have described as state-sponsored terrorism on innocent people who were coming to vote, will you also blame that on the MPP, which was in government?
You see, there are differences between Ayawaso West Wuogon and this one. Ayawaso West Wuogon was the NDC facing off with security. That's the national security. They faced off with them. They brought boys from Tamale. They did what they did. It occasioned what happened in Ayawaso West Wuogon. So in this particular scenario, it is the hoodlums within the NDC, youth within the NDC, who have openly, some judge has said it, justified it.
That's what
the National Women Organizer, go to his ex speech.
No, because I read it. He
Yes,
said,
and then the National Women Organizer,
about his own
the
case.
National Women Organizer also justified it. You get the point? So this is clearly telling you that the NDC clearly orchestrated what happened. They know these were their party people who went out to do what they did. And this is not the same thing as what happened in Ayawaso West Wuogon. And we must clearly condemn that. This is a country that we all know that as a party in 2019, there was a passage of Vigilantism Act. If the NDC had disbanded their vigilantes, even in the 2024, what happened wouldn't have happened. Read the Kodeo CDD joint press release. You read the kind of violences that happened.
And they named the NDC as being the people
you check
who
what happened in
perpetrated the
Damongo.
violence.
It is there. I don't mention NDC, but the violent activities everybody know. In Damongo, who were the people beating up the people? Who were the people who burned the Electoral Commission office? In Ayansiano, who were the people? These are cases that are cited on such report. Kodeo, CDD, and other organizations. It is cited. The number of people who have died, over 76 cases of electoral violence that were reported, a number of them that have been broken down and put into several thematic areas. I think that we must not condone this activity. You see, when a political party refuses to obey the laws of the land, this is the result that we get in. It's very unfortunate.
All right,
you see, if all parties are to put their internal security together, you think that Ghana elections will not have bloodshed? We must find a turning point to say that, look, let's stop this.
Let me go to security analyst and then come. So just land and let me go to security.
So
make his point.
we condemn this violent activity that has happened in that particular unrecognized elections in Ablekuma North constituency.
It's not recognized.
We don't recognize it because the Electoral Commission doesn't have the power to ask for rerun. And I have spoken law. I've quoted. Yes, if I'm not a lawyer, I have the right to read the constitution.
That's fine.
Yeah, if you are not a lawyer, you have the right. I've quoted provisions in CI, which is the law that regulates elections in Ghana. They don't have the mandate to call for a rerun. They don't. I've quoted that. And we went to court. If you need variation, court order that is not, you go back to the court. So you cannot arrogate to yourself such power. So we condemn what happened in Ablekuma North, and we hope that the IGP will work and ensure that we bring the perpetrators to book.
Very well. Richard, come out. Sorry, the line was terrible. I hope it's better now. You were mentioning some 5-time layers in elections like this. We want to listen to that. We want to hear that.
So you asked a question, the security has failed.
Yes.
And I was explaining to you that in every election cycle, on D-Day election activities, we have 5-time layers. And the first 2-time layers predominantly can be categorized with chaos, depending on the location of the election and the participants and what is at stake. It is true, and it's a well knowledge that the best 2-time layers between 7 to 11, my brothers in the police uniform have difficulties. And they have these difficulties based on certain factors they overlook or certain considerations they give to certain specific politicians. But when it became known to them, you realize that they reorganize themselves, they rebuild themselves, and they deliver the election results we're all expecting from them.
But you saw the videos we all did. The thugs or the hoodlums, and I'm using those words advisedly, we saw them breeze through the police as if the police didn't exist. They entered the gates, they went there, the police were just watching. That was dangerous.
It wasn't dangerous from a law enforcement point of view. From investigators' point of view, you describe me as a security analyst. I'm not at all. I've been a security consultant, worked with the BNI for many years, all over the years. And I have consulted for many organizations, including political parties, on election management and security risk assessment. From security point of view, we are talking about the personality here. The same personality who was attacked, the questions you asked was that when she got to the place, was that the first point of contact? Or where was she before she got to the place? Did she anticipate that there was going to be chaos and violence? Why did she go there with a weapon in her hand? Might she be the case that from investigation point of view, she knew her attackers? Where did the guys came from? Law enforcement officers can't take a decision and they might get some of them wrong. But then our concentration should be on whoever was attacked and why that particular spot was chosen for the attack. Then you might be getting the reasons why the police behave how they behave. It is a non-knowledge again that the police look helpless. And that is the picture that is being painted. But if you understand really what happened within the spirit of time, then you can understand why this particular chaos took place and the people behind it and the particular person that was attacked and the circumstances leading to that.
No, but that, if we have the police in these numbers and they cannot protect just 1 or 2 persons from attackers, then are we safe at all? No matter what the woman in question might have done, there's a reason why there's security. We see even criminals being protected from the mob. So why couldn't they have provided protection for Howard Kumsin? And again, will you call it failure of intelligence to know that the presence of Howard Kumsin there could trigger any attack, so they prepare accordingly for it? Because, I mean, my view is that once police are there, they should be able to ward off any such attacks. But we just saw, they were just standing. They could not even stop anything. You know, people were chasing people, they were just watching. And that is not encouraging.
Yes, Selorm, I can agree with you with your sentiment. The fact that there's a security failure doesn't mean there's an intelligence failure. 2 days before the election, I was on the ground, and I have been on the ground for all this while. When the information came up that certain category of people were trying to distract the elections, the police were aware. Almost everybody who must be aware were aware of the intended purposes of certain people to distract the election. Now, when it comes to security risk assessment and election management, what the police did, which I'm not holding brief for them and people can take them on, is that they failed to either rehearse what is likely to create the chaos, and they granted respect to certain people, and they believe that these people are going to behave normally. And it turned out that they had it wrong. So I agree with you that the police should have prevented it, which we have brought it to their attention, that their conduct and action within that split of time was far less than what is expected from a police officer. But like I said earlier, it's either they did not rehearse the procedure or they were unable to identify the red flag personalities at that particular moment, which could have created the problems we are seeing. And they rectified it, they remobilized, certain people were reassigned, and they pull it off. So yes, Your Honor has watched it. He has seen the seemingly unpreparedness of his men within that particular location and what they should have done, what they didn't do. But then again, yeah, the location was selected purposely for that particular chaos. An investigation should be investigated this matter and to know why the personality which has red flags came there with a weapon, and whether that was the first place of call and who these attackers were. I seriously believe that this is somebody who publicly declares she has a weapon, and we did not know whether she even came there with a weapon or not, but we saw some other weapon, and that should raise concern.
The other weapon you are talking about, is a pepper spray. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
But we will see a lot of our young ladies. Yeah, we see a lot of our young ladies.
This is a person that publicly said that she fired a gun under some circumstances for self-defense. What is not clear, whether she came there with a gun or not, and whether somebody else was holding the gun. But from investigation point of view, and from crime prevention point of view, and for public education purposes, for the fact that she came there with a weapon in her hand means that she might have envisaged that there's likely going to be chaos, and she can go there well prepared that when she becomes a target, or she has already been aware that she can become a target or she's a target. And from their point of view, I think the whole scenario could be well managed to create different narrations and different scenario for law enforcement officers. But Selorm, can you imagine a politician walks into a public space, create chaos, and this politician is supposed to have been arrested, and they allow him or her to walk away free, and him or her turns around to blame everybody and blame everything under the sun except him or her. And I think that is a bad precedent, and that's a bad premises we are setting for this country.
Is it in the context of this particular election? Because as far as I know, the lady just was conducting her rounds. We did not see, at least from the videos or heard, that she was engaging anybody in any thing to provoke people. We just saw.
No, sir, you are not aware of the circumstances that led to why the attack took place at that particular point within that particular moment.
Okay.
And that's why I was telling you, is that the first point of call, or she stopped at some other places before she got to that particular place?
Maybe that's where the aggressors could find her.
Yeah, what was her role? What was her role and responsibility within the inner perimeter? The inner perimeter is a matter of law, gazetted by our constitution and within the election management strategy or procedures. who is she and what role was she playing and how come she was allowed to get into the inner perimeter? It's a matter of law and it's a matter of security intelligence. Investigation is something that we needed to do.
I see.
But I think that overall, we are not getting it right. And from the law enforcement point of view, yeah, they have challenges, they pull it off. From politicians' point of view, certain politicians can classify it as a red flag. And they should not be allowed to get to public spaces and misbehave. And I think we are setting a bad precedent for this country. In as much as we blame the police for an initial challenge, which they rectify, as politicians, they need to be taking responsibility for their insensitive behavior and the way they manage this country.
I see. I don't know what the trigger was or what she might have done to trigger this. Whatever it is, the attack we condemn, we say it's not right. But are you surprised that there's been no arrest or there's been no official response or statement from the police service telling us the way forward on this yet? I mean,
no, I was surprised. I was very surprised. They interdicted the guy, the one who had the authentication with the journalist, and he was quickly interdicted. That was a quick action.
Yes.
With this particular one, you can understand the reason why it's taking them a little bit of time to come up with a statement on it.
Yes,
the very things I'm telling you might be the very things they might be going through from last night. My checks from higher sources and the conversations around the security intelligence environment is that they want to get to the bottom of this particular case.
Yeah, but you see, the way they carry the public along is also important. And it's been almost 24 hours after the incident. When they interdicted a young police officer who hit the journalist, we all applauded them for swiftness. Now, we've seen this on video all over the place, and we don't even have a statement from the police telling us they are on top of it, they are investigating, not even to name names or to give specifics, just to assure the public that this is what they are doing. We've not seen that, and that gap is unacceptable, is it not?
I agree with you. Definitely, from where we copy this democracy from, communication management is part of law enforcement leadership traits you have to master. Why they haven't come out might be that they are investigating the case. And remember, none of us is speaking for law enforcement, but we are speaking about best practices. Best practice means that some level of arrest should have been done by now. The police should have come out to speak, or the Attorney General, who is the #1 law enforcement officer and the #1 prosecutor in this country, should have speak to the issue in his capacity as the Attorney General. And the IGP or the CID board should have also be addressing the public in relation to this. We are faulting them predominantly because of the trust we have in them, that they need to do far better. But it's also a shared responsibility that crime prevention also goes with public education. Crime prevention also goes with reformation. Crime prevention also goes with good behavior. And crime prevention also goes with punitive action. And crime prevention also goes with people taking personal responsibility of their actions. In a democracy, there are three things that hold democracies all over the world: rule of law, accountability, and people being held accountable or responsible for their stewardship. On our part, after we blame law enforcement and everybody, we don't want to take responsibility for anything we do wrong in this country. And that, I'm saying, that is a very bad precedent, in as much as I agree that my brothers in law enforcement, the police in particular, had a jittery start with this whole election, particularly when the red flags and the warning signs have been known in advance, and they should have prepared appropriately and adequately, rehearse the procedures to ensure that individuals who might come who has red flags and troubles and chaos attached to them would have been treated differently. They didn't do that. But we as citizens helping this democracy to grow, we are failing to take responsibility for our insensitive behavior in this country, particularly when it comes to elections. And that point has to be made forcefully, and emphasis has to be laid that, hey, the way we are going in managing elections in this country it's a shared responsibility. And when we all get it wrong, let's accept that fact.
Very
But we
well.
always run away from our responsibility, and that is not fair.
Very well. This is the big issue on 97.3 City FM. We are on Channel 1 television and also on our socials. Your messages are welcome via our WhatsApp line displayed on the screen or on 0549 986 996. This one says that were policemen even there, they were more like spectators and stood there for people to be beaten. They were just... okay, you said they were not up to the task, or maybe order from above, you say. This one from Chris Akume says, Selorm, Dr. the Bawumia earlier acceptance of defeat was not a declaration of the presidential result. He did what is a practice with losing candidates all over the world. In boxing, don't we throw in the towel to stop a further pummeling of a hapless boxer? Well, that's what he says. Let me quickly take this round and I'll go for a break. So the chaos we've all condemned. Are you surprised at the police, conduct on the day, or you think that they were just overwhelmed by the number of thugs who trooped to the place to do what they did? Or do you blame the target for being where she was?
So first of all, I think if we are to blame, then it will have to be placed squarely on the police. And then if the question is whether or not I'm surprised, no, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because collectively as a people, and especially people who have had the privilege of leading this country, we failed to build our institutions. We failed to build our institutions that would help us fulfill the purpose for which we took upon ourselves a constitutional democracy. I think over the past few years, and I think this view was heightened over the past 8 years, where people were accepted into our security agencies, not on the basis of merit, but simply on the basis of their party affiliations. Indeed, if you followed the MPP primaries, their last primaries, I think one of the key promises their candidates were making in their internal primaries was what I termed the principle of slotism. That if you elect me, I'm going to give you this slot, I'm going to give you that slot. And so what is happening is that we have created security forces on partisan, that's divided on partisan lines. In fact, I was alarmed last year when during the leak tape, the Bugri in Abu leak tape, there was a cleanse, as in evidence of we having a force that is either MPP on MPP. You don't build a country on the principles of slotism. See, we need to build a country that's based on merit. As the spirit of meritocracy, the principle of meritocracy must be, especially in some of these institutions that are meant to be the vanguards of the purpose for of our constitutional democracy. I think when the last speaker was saying, he rightly mentioned the principles that must must underpin the system of governance, as in the rule of law, the principle of accountability, also the principle of tolerance. And for me, when you analyze how a lot of elections have been done, from I also Oregon, my brother here rightly mentioned tenancy and all those elections, Japoni and all those things. I mean, we can't build this culture where these incidents, as in where elections, which is supposed to be the beginning of a democratic effort, is marred by violence. And then it will be marred by violence because we know from history that the police will do nothing. The police watch and do nothing. We have videos, as in just based on the videos that have been recorded. Some arrests ought to be done. And you see, the reason why I don't want us to even bring the issue of our consent in, as in to serve as a justification. You see, we can't justify violence on the premise that she herself has been conducting. That's why we call for a reset, because of the mistakes of the past, because of the mistakes of the Nanado's regime. But some of us were calling for his impeachment because he took certain decisions which really, as in worked against or were adverse to the purpose for which we even took upon ourselves the system of governance. But then for us to then justify what's called violence on any Ghanaian, including our conscience, so based on her own fault, for me, defeats the purpose of why we even needed a reset in the first place. You see, I listened to the NDC's women organizer, and she didn't what's it called, support the violence. I think where I have issues with her was to sort of give a certain communication that seemed to suggest
that accepts her right.
Accepts her right. No, that defeats.
I think so she condemned the violence.
Yes.
But she said Howard Kumsin shouldn't be the one crying wolf now, because I mean, not in same words, but like she did same in the past. So now people are retaliating or giving her a dose of her own medicine, sort of. Yes, that's problematic, but that is the view that's how people see her, Howard Kumsin, that it's not time for her to face the music, which is problematic though.
Yeah, you see, if she was speaking in the personal capacity, I would have had an issue with that view at all. Because you see, like I said, the problem we are facing is that they had opportunity. They've had this opportunity for 16 years, and they failed to build that system or strengthen our institutions that would ensure that these issues don't happen. And so when the argument is made, I understand. But because she's part of government, yes, and because the women organizer is part of government, because Honorable Sam George is also part of government, because we've given them the power to build the institutions that will ensure that the system of governance that we took upon ourselves will thrive, then immediately you make that kind of communication. Then you are fighting against what's called national building agenda, which obviously should be against some of these acts, because at the end of the day, it is our collective duty as a people to build the right political culture, which will not only tolerate some of these things, but will also fight against this electoral violence. Because without that, then we can't guarantee ourselves the rule of law. And then when you take into perspective or into consideration the purpose for why we need the rule of law, then we should not tolerate, and so we should not give up or give out any communication that seems to justify some of these. So for me, and I hope you read the position of the movement for change.
Yes.
So
the movement for change, which was a statement signed by your good self. I'm just trying to dig it up. Just trying to dig
to help you, if you don't mind. It's here.
So let me just dig it up. So the Movement for Change issued a statement, and the Movement for Change condemns Ablekumanov electoral violence and calls for a new political culture rooted in national interest and rule of law. So portions of it says that these events highlight a troubling truth. Our law enforcement institutions, particularly the Ghana Police Service, continue to struggle under the weight of partisanship. The persistent failure to arrest and prosecute perpetrators of political violence, even in plain sight, exposes the justice system that is selective and the police service weakened by political interference. It goes ahead to say that we are especially disturbed by the growing culture of political vendetta. From my house, West Wogan, where the MPP unleashed violence, to Ablekumanov, where the NDC seemingly retaliated, we are witnessing a dangerous tit-for-tat tradition that threatens our democracy. This is not the Ghana we want to see. And I think they conclude by saying that, of course, in congratulating the winner, Rabna Obeng, and commending Nana Ekuya-Owusu of the MPP for her principled defiance. I will ask what the principled defiance is. So the participation affirms that democracy must be driven by the people, not dictated by party elites. So the movement calls on the IGP to ensure that those responsible for the violence are swiftly brought to justice. More importantly, we call on Ghanaians to reject the politics of vengeance and embrace a new political culture anchored in the rule of law, democratic accountability, and an unshakable commitment to national unity. We've talked generally about the parties, but you call this positive, what's the name? Positive defiance was Rawlings, but this is principled defiance. Principled defiance, if I'm guessing, because the party said don't go, and she said she would go.
Yeah.
That's great. Let me bring in Inusa. I mean, the violence we've all condemned, but we were expecting that by now, law enforcement will begin some action to assure us that they are on top of their game. No arrests have been made, no statement has been issued to tell us what's happening. We are all in the dark, and the silence sometimes means consent. Does it mean that the law enforcement sees nothing wrong about this, or they are waiting to when? Are you surprised that no arrests have been made so far?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because law enforcement doesn't work the way you think that it should work.
Even though we've seen people on the screen.
No, it doesn't work that way. Law enforcement will have to go and dig out what precipitated the arrest, dig out and identify the people who were involved, arrest those who ought to be arrested. And these are decisions that have to be taken. They don't do that in the open. Law enforcement doesn't work in the open.
But don't we need a statement at least from them assuring us of calm that they are looking into
well,
the
they
matter,
could. I mean, that could be. I mean, that could be expected, and it's reasonable to expect that they issue a statement assuring us that they are keeping the situation under control, and they are observing what happened, and trying to identify the perpetrators. So that I won't take away from you. But law enforcement doesn't like noise. Doesn't work that way. Law enforcement
impeded.
It doesn't work that way. Now, so first of all, let me say that Chris Akume, I'm talking about the unintended consequences of an early declaration.
Okay, in respect of
unintended consequences, underlined unintended consequences. You would have intended very well, but the unintended consequences is what we're seeing.
Okay.
Now, so number two, I'm incredibly proud of my party, the NDC. When Ayosu West Wagon brutalities occurred, we took a decision not to participate. That stopped further brutalities. And our members did not participate. They simply just went away. Okay, so you wouldn't see a failure to obey even that principled defiance that Boycott Donko is talking about, Apia Donko is talking about, did not come to us. Our candidate simply retired, and our people went home because we were shocked at the level of brutalities. And so we said, no, we don't need to expose our people to further brutalities. Number three, my brother Haruna should not be talking as if brutalities don't occur in MPP. I mean, my brother, the flag bearer of the Movement for Change, left MPP precisely because of the level of brutalities meted against his supporters. Precisely because of that. Precisely because of that. In the his agent.
That was not his supporter.
That was his agent. That was his agent.
And the party didn't make any statement.
A statement.
It was agent Awanwale. Agent.
And then what did he do? He simply asked that somebody who was otherwise too close to the voting center ought not to be there.
Even the showdown.
Yes.
Why they can't say showdown?
Yeah. So you see, so don't create a picture. And we all condemn it. I have taken part. Let me tell you my personal story. In 2008, Zubile, you know Zubile, it's predominantly MPP. I went there to supervise elections. I saw youth, the children under 18 voting. I complained. Why was I complaining? Not because they were voting, because I don't know who they were voting for. But I said that what they were allowing at that polling station was already exposing that children to wrongdoing and to become part of their culture because they see nothing wrong with engaging in that activity. I was slapped. I was slapped by an MPP agent. He turned out to be my distant relative from Johanne, but he slapped me.
Wow.
So I'm the last person. I'll be the last person to endorse violence because I've experienced it myself. I was slapped for just saying that we were exposing our children to moral corruption, and I was slapped. So I'll be the last person. Let's all agree that there is a regime, a fundamental regime and consensus that we have all accepted that should regulate elections. That if you have that, it's not for nothing that elections are conducted by law. And that if you have nothing doing at the polling station, you have to maintain a certain distance away from the voting center. It's not for nothing. I'm not surprised at the level of violence in Ablekuma because the security experts will tell you that when you congregate a lot of people to a particular spot, the parameters for operation become limited, and so there will be conflicts. There will be conflicts. And so, when they said 19, I knew that there would be problem. I knew there would be problem. Even one constituency, he cited Atiwa, he cited because the elections were limited to one.
Everybody was there.
Everybody was there. Okay, so when you congregate people in one area, there's a less likelihood of violence. And so the security agencies are also aware of this, and so must put in place mechanisms to mitigate.
You think the police failed on the day?
I think that the police, what happened was that they were conflicted.
How?
You see, you are there to ensure that voting goes on smoothly. And the people who are otherwise entitled to vote participate in the voting. And then you have a group of busybodies who are disrupting the process. What do? Do you leave your detailed work, the work that you have been detailed to do, to attend to these people, busybodies, who are not electorates, who will not take part in the election, but who are causing confusion? What do? I think they were conflicted, and they should find a way to remove themselves from that conflict. They were seriously conflicted. Because those people who we saw running around were not voters. They were not voters. They were not taking part in the election.
They came in groups.
In groups.
And so when you see them coming, you know these guys are up to something.
Yeah.
And they just went through the police people like that and started chasing a target.
Yes.
And
then you saw that they were not even interested in what was happening at the voting center. They were not interested. They were just interested in persons. So clearly, if I'm detailed to ensure that there's voting going on and a group of hoodlums or people attack the station or attack each other close to the station, what do? Do I abandon my post and go and have that thing brought under control? What do I do? Really, what do I do?
But in their professional sense, they should know what to do.
I don't know. I'm not a professional police. But I'm just saying that looking at what happened, I see conflict. I see conflict, seriously. And all of us expected, and because it's a general duty of police to protect life and property.
It's just like saying that the police has been detailed to protect a house, and somebody is passing and killing another person he meets on the road. The police will say, I'm conflicted because I've been asked to protect the house. But the thing happening on the street is not part, so I'm just there.
And I'm telling you, when they are sitting down by the banks and watching, and people are fighting close by, it might be difficult to see the policeman abandon that bank and go and try to restore calm.
I see. A few of the messages, I'll take a break and I come back, then we'll look at the way forward, whether indeed we should have military intervention. Because people think
because they call that in policing desertion.
I see. People think that the absence of the military also contributed. People feel the military police system would have done better. But Stanley says Mr. Kumado is always on point with his analysis. Jones Adoboinla says, good morning, Selorm. Without any fear of contradiction, every blame should be laid right at the doorstep of the EC, because if it had not been their incompetent and partisan nature, you say, we couldn't or we wouldn't have gotten where we are. This goes to confirm the Chairman General Nketiah's views that the EC must go now. I condemn every violence in every shape or form, regardless of who is involved. That's Jones from La. This one says, this is Prince watching from the Elembele district. The earlier incident where the police officer was interdicted for confronting a journalist likely made other officers cautious, fearing similar repercussions, which may have contributed to their inaction when faced with the intruders. Well, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll hear from Dr. Akteku, we'll hear from Richard Kumado and the panelists in the studio. No, you have spoken a few times. When we come back, I'll give you 1 minute before I go around. So that, Haruna wants some more time. Haruna is the man in the center. You know, so don't worry. I'll give you some more time. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll look at the way forward, and then we'll look at the way forward, and then we'll move into the CJ discussion as well. This is the big issue on 97.3 FM. Don't go away.
Drowning in deadlines, data running wild. Let's fix this together. Join the evolution. Join the sharpest minds in HR at the HR Connect Conference 2025 on August 8 at the Marvin Peak Hotel, Accra, under the theme Empowering HR Excellence, Leveraging Data, Resilience, and Wellness for a Thriving Workplace. It's not just another conference. It's strategy, tech, wellness, and a few smart laughs too. Panels, keynotes, real talk, and real solutions. Let's lead, connect, and transform the way we work. For further inquiries and bookings, please call on 0541 222 365 to secure your seat. HR Connect Conference 2025. Lead, connect, transform.
Where politics meets power, where the tough questions are asked, welcome to Face to Face. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m., join Umaru Sanda Amadou as he takes you face to face with the key players shaping the future of our nation.
I lost over $10 million at the trade fair.
You had a fight with the management of trade fair?
I don't have a fight with them. I just deplore the way they went about what they did.
Let's talk about the chief prosecutor of the state at the time that you were being prosecuted, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, the Attorney General.
Yes. I think he was directed to jail us.
By who?
By the system.
Boko has been a failure for your government, though.
Can't be a failure.
You have not solved it.
No, you are not praising them, the previous government for solving Yende, which was even a more difficult case.
It's quite obvious that from these votes, the people felt that let's just let you go.
So they were disappointed in us. You are essentially the worst government in the Fourth Republic.
I don't know how you are doing that. If you based on the indicators.
Yes, based on the number of people who refuse to come and vote for you.
If that is your analysis, then why not?
No filter, no boundaries, just the truth behind the headlines. Deep, bold, and unflinching. Face to Face with Umaru Sanda Amadou airs on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV, where politics gets real.
All right, welcome back. This is the big issue, 97.3 City FM, Channel 1 Television. My guest in studio, Andrew Appiah Dankwa, spokesperson for the Movement for Change, Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the MPP, Inusa Fuseni, Honorable former MP, Tamale Central, former Minister for various portfolios, Dr. Abdul Jalilu Ateku, political analyst on Zoom, and Richard Komado, security consultant, also on Zoom. Before we took that break, of course, we were looking at the Ablekuma constituency election itself. The MPP boycotted the chaos and all of that. And we are now moving to what we should be doing in the future to avert some of these things. But before we do that, Haruna will have a few points to make. Haruna.
Selorm, thank you very much. I agree with the fact that when it comes to electoral violence, it happens in every political party. And my senior honorable Inusa Fuseni will agree that in Kofridua, the horse whips, Big Zidin and then Francis Esiama and Co. It all happened in the NDC. But I'm also happy that Richard Kumodo has made some very salient point. I didn't know he was a security expert or consultant because he had contested on a ticket of the NDC at Sege constituency. Where he lost to the incumbent, the current MP in Parliament. I believe that he spoke very well, but
so you are impressed that even though seemingly he is attached, he has been objective on this matter. Is
Oh,
that
no,
what
but
you're
he's
saying?
speaking on security. I didn't know he was security, and because I knew him very well that he's a full-blown NDC member. He contested, and then he wasn't successful. But he spoke very well on the security matter. That I need to commend him on that particular aspect.
I see.
But you see, all these things that is happening. My brother mentioned about us going out of elections and condemning. You are here and saying I'm your former deputy general secretary because you stopped. You truncated your election process of contesting for flag bearership in our party.
Yeah.
And then you are condemning somebody also taking a decision not to participate.
Position of principle.
We also, principle.
No, if we don't have
So how do you know your principle? How do you know your principle?
We don't have principle.
All right. I mean, let me speak to Dr. Ateku. Doc, I mean, you've been listening. Your line was a bit disrupted from the beginning. But putting everything together, what should be the way forward? I mean, security-wise, political parties, etc. What should be the way forward for elections like this? Normally, by-elections, reruns, etc. have these kinds of things. We saw a similar thing in Akwetia, where Baba Jamal won, was in 2009. Just a few polling stations, and there were issues. We saw the by-election in Cherry Pony, there were issues. We saw the by-election in Ayawaso West Wogun, there were issues, etc. How do we move forward? What should we be doing?
All right, thank you very much, Selorm. Yes, if you look at the elections that we've had, maybe the by-elections and others, that is where you have almost, the political, acted political parties all moving to one particular location. So obviously, the likelihood of such experiencing violence is very high. And that's what I was expecting, that the police could have been able to address this issue, at least given the fact that this one, just 19 police stations and in Accra, but unfortunately, they could not, right? So moving forward, what I want us to, I think we need to have a rethink about how we conduct the affairs of elections, on elections on election day, right? So we need to look at that, especially looking at the polling stations and then the collation centers. One polling station, I say so because one on the election day, because at least I have observed some elections somewhere, right? And on election day, it's like very peaceful until, so why can't we have a similar situation where on the election day, you can have your political activity, your campaigns and everything, but on the election day, you just allow, that's why the political parties have their polling agents at the various polling stations. So once you have that, and then you have election observers or CSOs also monitoring, and then you have the police. I think that we need to look at the situation where we normally say that people should come and vote, and after voting, they should go home and they can come back later. I think we need to have everything about that. If we can maybe prevent just people come and vote, you have party agents, you have CAOs, election observers and all that, and then the security. I think that we need to look at that, because that is where normal people mass up, right? So if we are able to have a rethink about how we organize, we look at the electoral laws that we have, is there something that we can do in order to limit some of this, so that on the election day, so that we'll have some peaceful environment? Because if you look at it, for most of the elections that we have, whether the general elections, normally from the beginning, it's like peaceful. But as it picks up, you realize that is where people will be making, or maybe trying to group or individuals coming together to go and disrupt the election and all that. So we need to look at that. And then also the political parties or political actors also have a critical role to play. We are expecting that the police will perform, certain duties. In fact, I disagree with my colleague Kumado when he said that maybe intelligence failure doesn't necessarily mean this, because at least intelligence, led policing will lead you to understand some critical things that you need to. So when you are making your assessment, right, it can give you some basis as to whatever is happening. And in this particular situation, you know that already 19 police stations, and we were voting yesterday because of violence, right? So it means that already the police should have been on top of their job. So basically, as to whether, and that will also help them in prioritizing their resources, right? Their resources to a particular given area, and looking at how people were just helpless with security presence, police presence, and yet people were emboldened to be beaten and others, right? So I think we need to look at that. So having looked at from the police or the security aspect, as individual voters or as party actors, I think that especially the lady that is involved, we do know her history about what happened in Ewutu-Senya East, right? And then, she clearly said that she discharged her guns because of some safety and what issues. And here again, she came to, another electoral, environment with a pepper spray. What was the motivation? What was in her mind, right, before coming to that? Is it the possibility of them having some other weapons or somewhere? So I think that as we are saying that, people should be arrested, and I was expecting that people should be arrested, and that's why I also disagree with my senior man, Yunus of Hussein, because when you have people on video, right, clearly committing certain, so I think that the police should have picked them, and then also including the lady in question, because if only she's stable, I think that she should also be arrested, because once she went to the police station with a weapon, I think that is also important it should be of interest to the police to know why. And these are some of the things that we need to, and also broadly, the political parties, right, when they are in government or when they are in opposition, it's a different thing. You can see Haruna, was speaking very bitterly about the situation, and that is how it is. And I know that the NDC people also did that. When Iowa incident happened. So the question is, so what are we? So when we are in opposition, right, we think that some of these things are wrong and therefore it should not happen. Then when we are in government, what are we supposed to do? So I think that it's important that as political actors, political parties should also think about these issues. Even though we have the Vigilante Act and all that, we are still having some of this. So I think if people are not punished, right, I think that people should be punished for this particular incident. So that when people are punished, it will serve as a deterrent. It will deter others in the future. But if people are not, like we saw, in Iowa, so what happened, right, after the committee and all those things, what happened? So once nothing happened, others will also say, okay, then when we also come to power, we'll do the same thing or even more, right? And then they would not expect once the ruling, the party is in government, they'll put pressure on the government not to do anything. So it means that it becomes something that we continue. So that's why virtually our elections and violence are becoming like Siamese twins. It's like when you talk about elections in Ghana, it's about violence. I do not think that it is a way to go. So we need to have a rethink of how we secure our electoral environment. Should we continue on election day? Should there be any other activity apart from voting? So I think that if we are able to get our mind to that, it will help us moving forward.
I see. Just a final one. Do you think that the absence of the military caused anything? Should the military have been involved in this?
No. The military should not have anything to do with our elections on election day.
Because the people,
right? Unless
the people actually
to a
fear
point
the
where,
military.
we can't say that what happened in Abelokuma, this 19, the police could not. It's just that the police failed us. That is my position. Right? Whatever happened, if the police were on top of their job, if they were, because that's what intelligence, approach is supposed to do. Strategically, it can help you to position whether if you have your riot control or if you have your response teams and or sometimes an undercover, officer. So it helps you to do so many things, right? And it should be if they were on top of their job, I believe that they should have been able to address this. So this is not a matter that we said that we need to bring in the military, right? We saw, in the general election, we saw the situation in Obuasi. So in my view, I think the military should not come close to our ballot. It is still, we have to leave it within the domain of the police. The police should just up their games and then do things that are right. And I believe that they'll be able to nip this. They will be able to help us in managing our elections on election day.
Very well.
Right? Because the security is supposed to be for the election security and task force, and the police are the lead actors in this. And I expect that the police should rather up their game rather than asking the military to come in.
Very well. Thanks so much. Mr. Kumado, same question. Did the absence of the military create a vacuum for us to, for which reason we saw this inability of the police to deal with the situation. Many have said that if the military were there, the situation would have been different because people fear the military.
No, Zelo, you remember you asked me a question about intelligence, and I was surprised. My big brother, Dr. Ateku, had me wrong and was disagreeing with me. The point I made was that the fact that there's a security failure doesn't mean there's an intelligence failure. And I also said that when we went to the ground and the intelligence was speak, concrete intelligence that certain group of people wanted to distract the election, the information was passed on to the security agencies and appropriate people. I think that is what I said. Is that right?
Yes. So the police plus military combination.
Okay, so what people are asking for is that the misbehavior from politicians when it comes to elections, they are saying psychologically that the police institution or the police officers are weak, that they will want a military force, considering the fact that the military comes with force and they dread any misbehavior from any politician. I don't think my uncle Fuseni will want that kind of force unleashed on politicians. They will cry foul. They will not take it. They will create all manner of unreasonable problem in this country if the military should unrelease that kind of military force against politicians in particular. Selorm, if you remember, the 2024 election was predominantly manned by police officers, except at certain few locations, you have military officers. And it was an agitation from the political class that they don't want military people. And the then IGP headed to their cry and make sure that the police were released. And they did a good job, even though there were a few pockets here and there. What people do not also remember is that the police have a unit, they have different units. There's a Buffalo unit. When the Buffalo unit appear on the scene, you will know that the police have arrived. When the striking force appear within the security management environment, you will know that the police striking force has arrived. When my brother Roman Adolfo with his counter-terrorism groups arrive, you will know that these are guys who have arrived. If you remember the game in the 2024 election, there was a strong agitation against Dan Parry that he should not release the SWAT team of the Ghana Police Service for election duties because people dread the nature of their work and the manner at which they go about it. I agree perfectly that, yeah, the police made certain calculations wrongly and they respected certain politicians, believing that these politicians will put up a reasonable behavior, and they put up the opposite. And that is why we are discussing the professionalism and the conduct of the police. But then again, if we want our elections to be managed properly, enhance this democracy, and enhance the frontiers of governance in this country, the misbehavior from politicians and from all persons who have something to do with elections will have to be checked. Unfortunately, it has to be the police. So whether do we need a military, I think the police have capable hands of managing, maintaining law and order when it comes to elections as a national assignment.
Very well.
It wasn't just the police. The BNI officers were on the ground. You have certain other people undercover on the ground, and they all saw it. But again, the police are the first respondents, and they must take some of these actionable decisions. And when they fail or they hesitate based on one or two reasons, they are likely to be blamed, just like we are doing. I'm not holding brief for anybody, but I'm saying that the politicians have created an environment where they hold the hands of the police to act. And every when the police act and there are issues with it, they are the ones who cry foul. And let me also make this passionate appeal to my uncles in the studio, Dankwa and Fuseni, that Honorable, now you are less busy. Will it not be proper if you guys set up institutions to train the young politicians when they come into office, whether they are in power, they are out of power, how to treat the political environment, and how to treat law enforcement officers and their relationship with law enforcement officers. And they must stop not putting people to the law enforcement institutions who have no business being there. When I was going to the BNI, we were over 4,000 that started the process. After 3 years of background checks, they pick only 4 of us. But today, politicians boast that they put so and so number of people into the police, and that alone is enough for them to have a rerun. And when you go into the police, you have political police, protocol police, and the professional police. It is only when the police get it wrong that some of these undertones comes out. So, Uncle, please, I know your relationship you've had with law enforcement and how you have helped within the environment, making sure that law and order and rule of law prevail as against bad behavior. So I'm making a passionate appeal that Uncle Husseini and Lawyer Adonoo, come on, you guys should please help the system. These are your nephews, your sons and daughters, so that they will behave themselves properly. Other than that, the behavior and the misbehavior of politicians is becoming something else. My brother Husseini, the things I do within this space, I've been doing it on radio and TV since 2009. When your party was
Haruna,
in power, Haruna, when your party was in power, ask the people in the office of the president where some of the security intelligence help was coming from.
Very well.
You don't need to be NDC, you don't need to be MPP to do what I do. I do it because I am an expert on it, and I hold 6 expertise, and I do not discriminate at all. And the fact that I stood on the ticket of the NDC, you are bringing it this morning to discredit me, is the nonsense I have heard so far. And you, being who you are and where you are coming from, should not be making that statement. Because what were you trying to achieve? Go and ask the founders of the NPP, and ask President Kufuor and his guys, and ask President Akufo-Addo, and ask all my fathers in the house of President Akufo-Addo, what helped your government in the 8 years you have been in power? You would have been thrown out long time ago. So we do not come to this stage because we are novices or we don't have the intelligence. I have done it for 29 years in this country and some other places. And I don't take that nonsense at all, especially when it's coming from young people. So please be careful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So concluding thoughts, 2 minutes each on the way forward.
We're going to do the distance.
Yes, so just 1 minute each. I mean, as we conclude.
You see, clearly, I think the way forward has to prevent this. It's not about lack of laws. We have enough laws.
Enforcement.
It's a clear case of enforcement. 2, when it comes to the culture, because it seems to be a culture that is being built. I think the political parties think that their core mandate is just to win power, but also one of their core duties is also to aid in building the right political culture. So I'll call on the parties, on the movement also, that we deliberately build that right political culture, that one would tolerate diverse views, that would hold political leaders accountable, that will guarantee for all of us the rule of law, and to understand that elections are not power struggle. Elections are just opportunities for all Ghanaians to express their opinion as to how they want to be governed as part of the process of granting their consent, which is very central in this democratic effort. So let us come together and let's build a nation, build the right culture that will guarantee for all of us the rule of law.
Very well.
Selorm, thank you very much. I think that Mr. Kumodo, I don't know why he's jittering. I've indicated, it's a fact that you contested on the ticket of the NDC. And you see, from the training that I got, I would have responded to him, the word that he has used. But from the background I come from, I will not. He should at least desist from that and then make choice of his words should be very centered, because this is not a security training. Security people don't train people to be insulting or using vulgar language. It is very unacceptable. And for me to proceed to comment on this matter, Honorable Minister of State made a comment that the police were conflicted. They were not, because they were there and they knew that there could be such instances, because what brought us there is because of violence activities. Again, it was not happening elsewhere, like the example you gave, like somebody is in the bank and then something is happening on the street. It was happening at the gate they were manning. they had to come and push them off and enter. So it was the same exercise. Why were they manning the gate? They were manning the gate because they wanted to ensure adequate security and everything would move on smoothly. So the police just failed on their job, or they were carrying out a certain predetermined activity that resulted where we are. And they must change their way of doing things.
Very well. Great. Final
So we don't need the military to man our polling stations. We have always said that voting is a civil activity. It's a right exercisable by Ghanaians of age. And so we don't need the military. We have come a very long way in our democratic journey. And so what the police should do is to stand their ground and ensure that the proper things are done at the polling station. And we have made a lot of progress. When we started this journey in 1992, people could easily access the voting centers. But inner perimeter developed. Now, unless you are really a participant in the elections, you cannot access the inner perimeter. The police, the military were coming close to the polling stations. Now, we know that they cannot, even if they are detailed to supervise, they have to be patrolling and only invited by the police. The duty to man elections in Ghana and provide security is vested in the police. And so now we hold them responsible if there are lapses. Going forward, all of us need to understand that you don't win election by might. You win election by the tongue. And that we should encourage our people to come out and vote. And when they are coming out to vote, they must be fearless. And they must be bold to come out and exercise their vote. I know that when disturbances occur at polling stations, it might scare some people away. Some people don't know or didn't who wants them on today. And so let's limit that. I totally understand that when you get the people together at one particular location, the risk of disturbances becomes high.
Great. All right. So, I mean, we want to conclude this. We are concluding this and we are moving on. Mr. Kumado, will you want to take back the strong word you used? So that, okay. So I think we take back that strong word he used in respect of commenting on the point Haruna made. We think it's in bad taste. And apologies to Haruna for that. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll use next few minutes to look at why the suspended Chief Justice is going to the ECOWAS court and what really would that mean. This is the big issue. Don't go away.
Where politics meets power, where the tough questions are asked, welcome to Face to Face. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m., join Umaru Amadou as he takes you face to face with the key players shaping the future of our nation.
I lost over $10 million at the trade fair.
You had a fight with the management of trade fair?
I don't have a fight with them. I just deplore the way they went about what they did.
Let's talk about the chief prosecutor of the state at the time that you were being prosecuted, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, the Attorney General.
Yes. I think he was directed to jail us.
By who?
By the system.
Boko has been a failure for your government, though.
Can't be a failure.
You have not solved it.
No, you are not praising them, the previous government for solving Yendi, which was even a more difficult case.
It's quite obvious that from these votes, the people felt that let's just let you go.
So they were disappointed in
us.
You are essentially the worst government in the Fourth Republic.
I don't know how you are doing that. Based on the indicators.
Yes, based on the number of people who refuse to come and vote for you.
If that is your analysis, then why not?
No filter, no boundaries, just the truth behind the headlines. Deep, bold, and unflinching. Face to Face with Umaru Amadou airs on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV, where politics gets real.
What's better than your bestie? A bestie with blockbusters and bedtime cartoons. GoTV streams your fave soaps, sports, and the loudest laughs. No extra charge, just internet connection. Your shows, your vibes, your anytime, anywhere bestie. Go TV Stream. Download it now.
Welcome. It's Play to Aid.
Get ready for the game show where every play has a purpose. Welcome to Play to Aid, the only game show where your knowledge and skill don't just win you prizes, they help change lives.
What sport is considered the most popular in the world?
Football. Every point you earn goes toward real-world support, from school supplies to health kits, clean water to emergency relief. Play smart, play big, Play to Aid. Catch all the action, the drama, and the heat.
Most commonly spoken language in Brazil.
Portuguese.
Play to Aid every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV.
Edna, let's begin.
The Play to Aid game show is proudly sponsored by Tang Palace, Giraffe Island, and VVIP.
Yeah, welcome back. This is the big issue, the very final lap of the show, and we're dealing with a matter we've been dealing with for the past couple of months. Is the removal of the CJ. The CJ, we heard last week or a couple of days ago that is going to the ECOWAS court. And this was confirmed by Deputy Attorney General Justice Remsai, who disclosed that the suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu has filed a fresh application at the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice in Abuja, Nigeria. This legal move seeks redress over her suspension and the process initiated for her possible removal from office. This latest development comes amidst ongoing legal proceedings in Ghana, where 3 separate petitions have been filed seeking her removal. Justice Tokonu, who was suspended by President Mahama under Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution, has already challenged her suspension before both the Supreme Court and the High Court. In a Facebook post on Tuesday, Justice Remsai revealed that the Chief Justice filed the application at the ECOWAS Court on July 4. According to him, she is invoking claims of human rights violations arising from her suspension without a conclusive determination of the petitions against her. Let me start off with Apia Dankwa. Andrew. Yeah. What did you understand by the Chief Justice's application at the ECOWAS court? She's raising issues of human rights violations, similar issues she raised at the Supreme Court, even though it should be the High Court and now the High Court. She's proceeded to the ECOWAS court. What really, in your view, is she seeking to achieve, and what can the ECOWAS court do really about the situation we have?
In fact, it's not about what she's seeking. It's about giving an impression that Ghana or the justice system in Ghana is subject to the ECOWAS court. Because we are sovereign country, a country that is governed by a constitution. The constitution creates powers and distributes those powers. So for somebody who is still Chief Justice, she's just suspended, but she's still Chief Justice, whose core mandate at all times is to defend and uphold the constitution of Ghana, and that's the sovereignty of Ghana, to run to the ECOWAS court, to give an impression that we are subject to ECOWAS, to give the impression that justice does not, contrary to what the constitution says, does not emanate from the people of Ghana, but from some ECOWAS court, for me, betrays this constitution, betrays the sanctity of our constitution, the sanctity of our sovereignty. And for me, it adds to the so many sense that just this simple process of this accountability process is causing the CJ to do. Because in a press conference, she sinned against our constitution. In that press conference, she sinned against our constitution. And once again,
how did she sin against the constitution?
What does Article 146? Is it 8?
In camera?
The in camera thing say. Because the CJ herself said that you can make all the noise you want. The law is the law. I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
She said that.
She said that.
You understand? And taking into consideration her position as the Chief Justice. She's the chief of the justice, of all the justice. You understand? For the Chief Justice, because of this process, which is meant to reaffirm the principle of accountability that underpins our constitution, and then to then throw our whole sovereignty. And William also did that in 2015. And I know people have been going, and I've always asked myself, what power does the ECOWAS court have over any Ghanaian? What power? I know you can talk about advisory. Yes, we can advise, but we are talking about power here. Jurisdiction, power here. So, without going into the human rights issues, and I'm still struggling to see how any petition at all, which reaffirms the probity and accountability principle that underpins our constitution, can be interpreted to mean that your human rights are being violated. But if they are being violated, the Constitution of Ghana has given enough room for you to seek redress. Or is it the case that the CJ does not trust in the Constitution of Ghana anymore, or in the ability of this country to deliver justice for her? You understand? A system that she has had the opportunity of leading, for being a part of for a very long time. So is she saying that the system that she has been a proud member of, the system that she's led for close to about 4 years, does not have the ability to discharge or to dispense with justice, then she's undermining the role that the job that she did. Because for about when did she become chief?
2 years ago.
So for 2 years she led this institution, the justice delivery system in this country. Now, if she's saying that she's going to the ECOWAS, if she says she does not believe by that,
because, for example, she says that she doesn't even know the allegations, the specific allegations against her, because there are a number of allegations in the 3 petitions on which particular allegations were the prima facie cases founded on. We do not know. And she doesn't know to build her defense, because she can't go fishing dealing with all the allegations.
No problem. That's why we have a justice system. So if you think that your rights are being infringed upon, we have a justice system.
She went to court, they threw her out.
But we have a justice system that she has had the privilege of leading for some time. Now, if she's saying by this act that she does not believe in a justice system that she herself has been a part of and has led for all these years, it's a very serious indictment on herself, on the leadership. Because then what she's saying is that we should then query the 2 years that she led this justice system. We should then question the entire justice system that she has been a part of at a very high level for all these years. Because she does know the person who just 2 years ago, recently, if I still leads, because she's still the head of, because she's still the Chief Justice, she's just suspended, but she still is. And she's worked as the head of this institution for more than a year. By just this singular act, what she's telling all of us as Ghanaians, that she failed in building the system so that this system can give away, can dispense with justice without fear or favor, without partisan consideration, without taking into consideration your person. Because it's blinded. As in the
Lily Justice.
It's supposed to be, it's blind because it's saying that, listen, when I'm giving away justice, without fear or favor. But if the CJ says that, listen, I don't believe that the system that I've led, the system that I've been a critical part of, that system cannot give me justice. Cannot give me justice. And so I must resort to some ECOWAS who do not even have the power to give me that justice. Because ECOWAS do not have the power to give her the justice she seeks. It's a serious indictment, not only on our justice system, but on herself, on her leadership ability, on her failure to build an institution that can deliver justice, irrespective of your partisan consideration, irrespective of your tribal consideration, irrespective of your social
standing.
You understand? And so for me, it's just an admission of failure as Chief Justice by the suspended Chief Justice. That's my view.
Very well. Aruna, What's your thinking? I mean, Adonoo has been in the Supreme Court and the High Court. She's still facing the process. We don't know where the process is at now, but she's gone to the ECOWAS court for reliefs around human rights violations. I mean, seeking reliefs around human rights violations, etc. One wonders what exactly that would do for the matter when you are already at the Supreme Court and the High Court.
Thank you, Selorm. Therefore, my law is coming past.
I tell you, by the time you leave here, you have honorary law.
Yeah, well,
only that you can't use LG Tech.
They will call me to the bar. I don't know which of the bars.
How many bars do you have?
Because I don't drink. I don't drink, so I cannot be called to the drinking bar.
That's a sharp one, yeah.
Selorm, you know that it's not true that she's running away and she's not confident in our justice system. She has been to the Supreme Court. She has been to the High Court. That tells you how she trusts the justice system. The last time I checked, there is no boundary to justice. There is no limitation to justice. And her decision to go to the ECOWAS court, I don't think that there is a barrier in the Constitution that says that you must not seek justice beyond the shores of the country. And that is why we as a country have signed to the Treaty of ECOWAS. She went to ECOWAS on a specific matter. I said on human rights matters. What she went to Supreme Court for is different. What she went to the High Court for, they are different.
In fact, they are around the same areas.
Yeah, some areas, but specifics. So there is no boundary to justice. She's seeking for justice. And justice is not a commodity where you can prescribe the category of justice you need. And that one will be procured for you. So she's looking for several routes. She's following several routes to get the justice. And that is why she identified the ECOWAS court. So as to whether the ECOWAS court has the power or not, let's leave it to the justices to determine whether it is going to be applicable, whatever that she's seeking, the remedy that she's seeking from the ECOWAS court. I don't think that it is an unconstitutional process. And also her press conference, she has a right to speak, and she chose to speak.
The process is in camera. It's supposed to be.
But the press conference was not part of the process.
No, but she came to say things that happened in the process.
She came to complain what she was deprived of.
Yeah, but that's part of the process.
It's not. That's not the sitting was not the press conference. So it's left with the judicial system to deal with that. Again, she's still the head. She's been suspended. Certain things that are happening, she has questions for that. She sat in a panel with a judge. A decision on that particular case is part of the cases that is the petitions that have been raised against her. One of the judges who took the same position with her is sitting to determine.
But we don't know how the judge will determine.
So, and this is the case
and we
that
don't even know whether that particular allegation.
So that is why she wants to know. That is why she's filing a case. That is why she's looking for determination. And I think that we must be fair to her. She's one of the fine-brained lawyers in this country. Very well. She has served diligently, and I believe that we should make sure that justice is seen to be served.
Matters are fair to her. Dr. Tiku, 1 minute. The CJ.
Well, thank you. I think that, it has taken us to another level. We thought that the processes within the country were enough for the issues to be addressed, right? And I believe that from the way things are happening, I believe that she herself has come to terms that it's like she is going, and therefore she's doing everything. Either, I don't know, some people say that to fight, or so basically, but what I can say is that in all this learning experience, right, one thing that people should know is that in whichever capacity, whichever position that you find yourself, even that it comes with accountability. And in this sense, we're talking about judicial independence, and judicial independence must come with some judicial accountability, and that is what is happening. I thought that at least working within or following the processes within, because so far, I mean, you can't pinpoint any violation of the said Article 146. I think that, and I believe that going well. It is her right to go out. I do remember Oyume, for example, also went to the African human rights court.
And we must be fair to her. Great. Let me take a final word. Let me take a final word from Inusa. Inusa, very final word from you.
Well, I think that what the Chief Justice is doing is creating the impression that she has a right not to be removed from office. It's created the impression that she has the right not to be held judicially accountable for her stewardship in the judicial service. And again, it's turning the law. I mean, we lawyers are becoming more and more confused because of her actions. Because she's steeped her actions in politics, and that is beclouding the law.
Very well.
And so I will well advise that we stay the matter and wait till the ECOWAS court. It's an advisory court.
So we should stay the matter.
Yeah, we stay the matter and wait for the ECOWAS court to, because when you file for interim measures, the state has 5 days within which to respond, and then 30 days within which to respond to the substantive suit. So let's leave it within the Attorney General's office to deal, because it's the state that she's taken to ECOWAS. It's not. It's the state.
Very well.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. So the police has issued a statement on the Abdulkumanov elections.
Because you've been talking.
Yes, quickly. It says that the regional command recorded some isolated incidents of violence, including cases of assault, resulting in disorder at some polling stations during the Abdulkumanov parliamentary rerun held yesterday. It calls it isolated incidents of violence. 2, preliminary reports indicate that these incidents caused temporary disruptions to the otherwise peaceful conduct of the election in some polling stations. Police officers intervened promptly to restore calm and ensure voting continued without further interruptions. The regional command is taking steps to identify perpetrators, and anyone found to have engaged in acts of violence, intimidation, or breach of the peace will be arrested and taken through the due process. The command wishes to encourage anyone with information to contact them on 18555 or 191 to assist with investigation. Signed, Juliana Obin, Superintendent, Head of Public Affairs of the Police Service. This is how we end today's edition of the program. My name is Selorm Adonoo. Thanks so much, all of you. Have a good afternoon.